The video you are about to see was created for producers who are not currently certified organic, for those who are farming organically but not opting to certify, for farmers who are interested in transitioning to organic, or those who would just like to know more about how an organic farm inspection is conducted. It is important to note that this is not a real inspection. The video inspection is staged for educational purposes. The mock inspections are being conducted with the cooperation of the producers. Each farm is a partner in the project. While most of the discussion will be factual about each farm, a few aspects have been changed to increase the opportunity for learning. The project was funded by the USDA National Organic Program. This is one of two videos titled What to Expect at an Organic Livestock Inspection and What to Expect at an Organic Farm Inspection. We encourage you to watch both. Each video highlights different aspects of the inspection that will be useful to anyone seeking information about the process. In the farm inspection video, you'll meet Shahid Harris and Fatia Mustafa of Sumter, South Carolina. They raise a wide variety of certified organic vegetable crops. Ken Mugg is the owner-operator of Mugg Family Farms located in western Georgia near the small city of Tallapoosa. Ken produces livestock, hay, pasture, and grains, and makes his own livestock feed mix on his farm. He sells direct to customers from his farm and also contributes products through a CSA. The Mugg Organic Farm is about 100 acres. Some acreage has been certified since 2000. Currently, the sheep, pasture, and hay are certified organic on this farm, but other enterprises include honey, layer hens, grains, vegetables, cattle, and goats. The organic inspector for this educational video is Margaret Scholes, the executive director of the International Organic Inspectors Association and a veteran organic inspector of more than 25 years. The training video will include all elements of a real inspection, including records review, a production audit, and a system traceability test. The inspector will have studied the organic system plan and any organic system plan updates that the farm has submitted this year, related to crops grown, materials used, and farming practices that have changed since last year. The inspector will have drafted key points to cover during the inspection, based in part on the materials provided to them from the certifying agency. Most important, the inspector will be assessing the farm for compliance with the federal regulations under the USDA National Organic Program. The inspection starts with the opening meeting. The inspector will explain the agenda of the inspection, detailing the things she wants to review and the order in which she plans to proceed. Together with the farmer, she will then review the farm's organic system plan, and she will clarify any issues she has highlighted for discussion. She will focus on the previous year's correspondence from the certifier, addressing any reminders or non-compliances.
But I just wanted to start by just reviewing the process to make sure that you're clear on why I'm here. And the main purposes for my visit are to verify that the system plan that you've submitted to the certifier is actually accurate and seeing if it matches what I see here in reality, and to look for compliance to the NOP regulation. Now, that is the only regulation that you're applying for certification to, correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so the way this will go is that I have a few questions. The certifier sent me last year's certification letter. They sent me the certification letter, or the review letter that you received. Hopefully you did receive that before I came. And I need to follow up on a few things from last year. I need to make sure I've addressed what the certifiers asked me to address this year. And I do have a few questions about your system plan. So I will ask a few questions, especially about the map. I'd like to go through the maps and make sure I understand where everything is, because you're kind of scattered out here.
And we try to take the flat areas for fields and the grades, the graded areas for pasture. Mm-hmm. And then the wooded area just has to be buffers. Mm-hmm. And so that's the reason that it is absolutely scattered out.
So we will make sure before I leave that we've addressed all the concerns that the certifiers had, and we'll go through the system plan and make sure I understand what I'm looking at. Then I think what we'll do is go and look at all the fields and pastures, and I'll want to see some of every species of livestock. And you have so far not certified any species except for the sheep.
That's the only thing we've got right now that's certified.
And the poultry are organic or not organic?
Not organic right now, but like I say, we're headed towards. I have gone away from using either corn or soy as a base for chicken food, and what I'm doing is literally using grains and meal for the chicken food. And so the next birds that come out, I'm at the point where I could start doing both organic eggs and birds.
So the hens that are, is it broilers or layers that we'll be seeing?
You've got no, it will only be layers right now.
So you have some layers that are mature and you're getting eggs from those,
Right.
and those are not certified.
Those are not certified.
But
no.
what did you mean when you said when the next batch comes out?
We've got I've got an incubator in there, and actually tomorrow is the 21st day, and so there's a possibility that we'll have a lot of little ones. That's what I'm hoping for.
So you're
anyway.
incubating your own eggs?
Good.
And I'm glad you're going to take your journal with us. So I'll be asking from time to time, can you show me that?
Yep,
How
good.
did you
No,
record
it's
it?
no problem.
There shouldn't be any surprises when you get the letter from the certifier that says you have a non-compliance. And I just will tell you that it's really common for a grower to get a non-compliance. And it sounds like a big word, but it means in most cases those are correctable, and they give you a letter that tells you what you have to do, and you're looking like maybe you've had a non-compliance before. Have you?
I have been initiated, yes.
Okay, so you know what I mean. It doesn't mean you don't get certified, it doesn't
Right.
mean you don't get your certificate, but it does mean you usually have a deadline to respond by. So
And normally what I've found is that as long as everybody is trying, that everything is fairly reasonable.
well, that is good to hear, because you've been certified since 2000.
2000, right.
Just to make sure that we're clear that I'm just here as an observer and a reporter, and someone at the certifier makes a decision. Sometimes growers think that we inspectors issue non-compliances, and we can't do that. So if we tell you something might be an issue, that's exactly what we mean. It might be an issue, but it isn't an issue because we say so. We just need to bring it up if it might be an issue to the certifier. But even though I understand your approach, which is building resistance and picking the right breed, breed selection in all cases, in all your livestock, I'm picking up that is how you manage things. But still, you must sometimes have to call a vet or take an animal to the vet or treat them with
Oh,
a
yeah.
prohibited material.
As far as treating with prohibited material, it's almost either a go or no go. I'm trying to do what's right for the whole herd.
Input list. One of the things the certifier wanted me to do is make sure that the input list is accurate. So what's listed here on the on your input list is granite sand and limestone filler / auburn lime. So do you have any of those things on hand?
Yeah, I've got them actually up there at the barn.
Both of them? You have some? I actually
yeah.
saw some piles. So
Yeah, both of them are up there, and understand that it's a system called remineralization, and what we do is every year, every paddock and every field gets remineralized, and so
with both of those.
With both of those, right?
So the Mug family farm is this farm right here.
Exactly.
And I think I understand it, but there's a lot of detail on this map. So where I came in, where we're at right here, is that where we're at right now?
Yeah, you came in on this road right here.
Okay, so this must be where the barn is?
Yeah, that's it. Right
and
there.
this is where I saw a couple of horses?
Right, exactly.
And I saw a couple of goats here, and I saw goats and a cow and calf here?
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
I know where I'm at then. So, it looks like woods around.
Yes, it's wooded buffer.
Do you have any questions for me? Anything changed in your operation since last year that has come up?
Yeah, there's one thing, I guess, and that is that my uncle had owned he owned those two pieces.
The golf course
Right,
properties?
golf course properties, but the 300 golf course road has now changed to, the ownership is now Custom Beverage. You know, as far as my application is concerned, that's not been changed there. I don't.
So have you talked to your certifier about this yet?
No, I have not.
It's I guess you probably know this, but it is always important when there's a change in your operation to let them know, because it's up to them to, as to how serious it is. I know you've already talked to them, and it sounds like that it doesn't change any of the practices.
I'm hoping it doesn't.
Yeah. So that is probably something that needs to be notified to the certifier.
Okay.
I can see that the lake actually impacts the whole ecology of your farm. Have you done other things other than the lake management that would be sort of with the goal of increasing biodiversity?
Oh yeah. As far as I have planted cover crops, and the biodiversity, we've got a real problem here. The doves and the quail are gone now. We've had the influx of coyotes, and we think that that's the problem. They have actually been able to reinstitute the turkeys. I've got turkeys that literally almost pets out here, and so we have reintroduced a lot of, or we've tried to preserve
I see a lot of birds.
Oh, we've got tons of birds, and I mean, it's very, very, very diverse as far as the birds are concerned.
Does it always come in these big totes? So this is for
2,080 pounds.
and this is one tote.
Right.
I see it says certified organic. This was kind of handy that we got to see a new shipment arriving with your invoice and your unloading system and your storage system. One of the things I'd like to do before I leave today is to do an audit of your feed oats, because that sounds like that is the main purchase
Right.
feed item.
Right.
So what I will want to do is have you show me how you keep all of your invoices, keep all your records, and look at how much you've used based
Okay.
on what you've just said.
Okay.
So you're not feeding very much to the sheep.
No, they eat the grass, and then if you put out hay, they will eat it as last resort. But what I have been doing is we've been doing the mob grazing, and then in doing the mob grazing, what we also do is take advantage of standing hay.
So are there other feed supplements or additives that you use?
I use the oats to build up the protein. I use the diatomaceous earth to take down the fecal egg count.
So diatomaceous earth would be one of the supplements that you don't feed all the time, but that you sometimes do.
Right.
More as a health care.
Exactly.
And salt I saw in your system plan too.
Yeah, and I don't use the mineralized salt. It's got too much copper for sheep.
Are those diatomaceous earth and salt, would they be stored in here, or where would I find those?
The salt, we've got them in salt containers out there. We did have 2 blocks over here, but we just got through putting them out. And so
all the salt will be out with the livestock, and we'll look
Right.
at it there?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The diatomaceous earth, do you have it here?
No, it's down in the garage under the house.
Okay.
Last year, Ken received a notice of non-compliance after the inspector found he was grazing his organic sheep on about 1 acre of road easement. He had not notified the certifier, and the acre was not added to his system plan. To resolve the noncompliance, Ken had to get additional information to prove that the acre was managed organically and could be added to his plan. The inspector will follow up for the certifier to verify the resolution of the noncompliance.
Ken, is this where that you had the issue with the extra acre that was added to your system plan? You said that we'd see that here.
It's outside of the fence line. It's on the highway right of way, but the problem is that the city will never go up there to do anything with it. They keep their utility easements in it. They've got the gas line and the water line going in there, and then there's a cable line up at the top of the hill.
It was, and so it's just this area right here that we're looking at.
This and on the backside back there.
Oh, okay.
The right of way for this road and the right of way for Highway 27. And so what happened though was that they came back with the non-compliance, and so you know, as far as the resolution was concerned, they wanted the thing resolved. But what I asked them was, I said, well, what about this? If I can get some kind of a lease with the city or with the state, as far as this thing is concerned, could this be considered leased land? And they said, well, yeah.
Part of your system plan.
Part of my system. But what happened was I went to the city and I said, could I get a grazing easement? And I said, you can handle the utilities and I'll handle the grazing. You know I'm already doing it. And they said, yeah, we know you're doing it. Right.
So some of the breeding stock is certifiable, but you wouldn't sell it that way as organic.
Right, you can't. Some of the breeding stock is for the most part not organic right now. It's because of a couple of years of really rough times. But all of the babies would be organic.
Okay. I haven't really much experience with the hair sheep, so can you tell me more about how you decided to raise Katahdins?
Yeah, the situation is I never wanted the first animal on the farm. I wanted to do nothing but row crops and grains, and so what happened was that Mom had a timber company come in and cut the pine trees, and when they did, they clear cut some areas, and what we didn't realize was that there was kudzu in the middle of it. All right, and the kudzu started growing, and I had no idea, and all of a sudden I looked and I had kudzu on the back steps of the house, and so I mean, it had taken over the whole hill.
Really invasive and not native.
Not native, invasive, and then what happened was that there's no organic way of taking care of kudzu except animals. So in order to stay organic, I had to pick out some animal that I wanted. I stumbled onto the hair sheep. They're the sheep that are used in the Caribbean because the heat and humidity doesn't bother them a bit.
I wondered about the dogs. I'm seeing dogs even with the horses. Tell me how you're using them. You have that many predators?
Yeah, but the thing is that when I divide the goats into two teams, I have to have a dog in each team because goats are very, very susceptible to the coyotes.
So this, her number is 15?
Yeah, that's yellow 15.
So you got yellow 15. And she's got a baby?
Yellow 15 has female blue 52. There's 53 over there. Wait a second. Yeah, and blue 53. There's blue 53 right there. And blue 52 is
right there, I think.
Right there. All right, so those two are yellow 15.
So, we haven't talked very much about worming.
I have I have built a flock of sheep that basically are not very susceptible to worms.
Do you? Now, your grazing strategy has to be part of that.
Right. What I will do, what they have a tendency to want to do, and that's the reason that mob grazing is so good, is that what happens is I'll put them on tall grass, and then they take it down. And then when they take it down, they have defecated and put worms all in here. And then what happens is when the new growth comes out, that's the most tasty. So that's what they want to do, is they want to rotate back and go to the new stuff, and that's when the worms get them. So what happens is that what I'll do is I keep them moving, and I do this.
And they can't go back.
And they can't go back. And even in the paddocks over there, I'm doing the same thing now. And so even though I've got permanent fence up and I've got large paddocks, I still am partitioning off part of it for them and won't allow them to go back to the old stuff. And so
Physical alterations, such as tail docking, dehorning, and castration, are addressed under the Livestock Healthcare Practice Standard 205.238. Physical alterations are permitted as needed to promote the animal's welfare. They must be done in a manner that minimizes pain and stress.
Another thing I noticed different about these sheep, you're not docking the tails.
no, you don't have to. Docking the tails, these tails never get nasty.
For wool sheep, it's more normal. I mean,
yeah, you have to. All right, but down here you don't want to do that. These guys use those tails to keep off the flies. And
could I see what's in here?
yeah.
Oh, there's your national salt. It's a plain white salt.
Plain white salt.
Is there one of those sticky things at the end of it, or did you take it off?
I've got it back in my paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see that before
Yep.
I go. And I understand that you're not cutting the tails, but how about castration? Are you castrating the males?
You don't. It doesn't change. It doesn't change the taste of the meat at all. All you do is lose body development. You lose neck. You lose shoulders. You lose hip. I mean, what happens is that the testosterone is the driver as far as body development is concerned, and you lose it all. No physical alterations. The lambs will grow to their potential as far as the body development is concerned.
I know shelter and shade are two of the things we haven't talked about. Water is, if it's the same as with the goats, you just fill it from a spigot out here.
Right, exactly.
Every day.
It's I've got one right there, and I've got one right there. You can see the hose going to it right there.
Is there ever any time of year that you have to provide bedding?
No, not down here. We don't. There's absolutely, when these guys get all their fur on them, they are pretty impervious.
So I'm looking down this and I'm not seeing any structures, but can you tell me about shade?
We're doing this mainly in the spring, so that first of all, if it's really summertime, then we'd have to get real serious about shade. But what we've got is we've got scaffolding with boards up there for the moms and the babies to get under, and I've got more scaffolding if I need to. If it really starts getting hot, I've got more boards and more scaffold.
So when you move them over here, this fence stays here, but you put up a new one, and that's how you do it?
All you do is disconnect right there, open it up, and run them in.
I'm pretty curious about one thing from your system plan.
Mm-hmm.
You said that your grazing season was 245 days, but unless I'm not paying attention, it seems like they're on pasture actually 365 days.
But yes, 365 days is what I plan on.
And confinement for these sheep is?
None. I've got an isolation pen down there for any kind of a sick, hurt sheep. I can put them in there. It's down at the house.
Okay, I think we probably need to go back to the main farm,
Okay.
back to your place, and do the records review.
Okay.
And thanks for bringing your journal along. That really helped because we did a lot of verification.
Though is we use this for remineralization, and yep, that's granite. That's what we've been putting out is granite
Now, is this
sand.
a mix of the granite and the lime, or this is just the granite?
No, that's just the granite sand.
You don't put them on together then?
No, I put them on one at a time.
Ken, I noticed when we came up here to the barn, I couldn't help but notice the two piles here. I was going to ask you about your inputs, but maybe they don't come in a bag. Is that right?
They don't come in a bag. You have to go get them on a trailer.
So, could we look at, what is this over here?
That's granite fines, or granite sand. It's manufactured sand. And so what they have determined is that granite, we're just very, very fortunate that we're here in Georgia with Stone Mountain and all the granite quarries that we've got. I use that cyclone cedar, and
Yep, looks just like the stuff I found underneath it.
right, and what happens is that that's fine enough that it breaks down quick enough, but it's not so fine as granite powder, which is used in a lot of the organic formulas. But the fact that it stays on top of the ground, it doesn't leach. So what happened, and then we do it every year, and that cyclone spreader, when you get through, the pattern on the ground is just phenomenal.
I like to see records like that that they include all those other things, and then I know you didn't just get ready for the inspection by filling them out.
Lord, there's no way.
So you called this, you called it filler.
Yeah.
So how does this get here?
Truck.
You have a truck deliver it, or?
This time I had a truck deliver it.
I just was wondering about the clean out on the truck, or how confident you were that there wouldn't be anything in the truck.
Oh, there's nothing. He hadn't been hauling anything agricultural. He's been hauling logs.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So there would be nothing but natural on it. In fact, it was my logs that he was hauling.
Ken, you said while we were here you would show me your seed storage. So could we take a closer look?
Sure.
I saw from your system plan that mostly you used organic seed, but that sometimes you use non-organic.
Right.
How do you make sure that it's not treated or genetically modified? I know that Marshall rye is not something that would be genetically modified, but if you're buying any seeds that might be genetically modified?
Yeah, I just have to ask. That's all I can do. No, the ryegrass seed is coming from it would be from Athens seed.
Okay.
And I've already checked to make sure that it is not treated.
Can you tell me more about the inoculant that you're using? I saw it in your system plan.
Yes, I use a fungal inoculant, mycorrhizal. And what it does is it attaches to the root system and actually extends the root, and it's symbiotic with the roots.
Do you have any of that here?
Yes, I've got it at the house. I keep it in the freezer.
How does the water get here for them? You carry it?
Yeah, just the water spigot's right over there.
So because they're actually in the cages for a couple of reasons, but one is that they're safe from the predators in here?
Absolutely. The reason that I don't have just chicken wire on here is I had an owl come by, and 5 of my babies had their heads taken off, and you can see here we've got the nest right here, and then the roots are right there. Okay, so and they use them.
Oh, I'm seeing good ventilation, and I'm seeing good roosting.
And not only that, but sunshine.
And access to the outdoors every day.
Yeah, all the time.
Year round, huh? Hard to get used to being from Montana. And they have shade, and they have shelter. So even though your hens and rooster are not certified right now, it does look like you're working towards certification for the new chicks that are coming out of the incubator. So what I'd like to do is just take a look at the eggs, but a lot of people don't incubate their own chickens. So tell me how you decided, is that because you don't have hens that will brood?
No, I actually, I had one of them that went broody, and I put eggs under her twice. And the first time, the eggs didn't last very long. Under the second time, I got to the, it takes 21 days to come out with chicks, and we were down to mid of the last week. And all of a sudden, not the first egg, not the first shell, nothing underneath her. And but the problem that I've been having is that the gray rat snakes are around, but I'm not killing any gray rat snakes. They are fantastic rodent killers. That's the rotating incubator. You do that for the first 18 days, and then what you do is you switch them to the static incubator. Like I say, mine are coming out tomorrow. So they've got trays, and the trays are covered so that when the chicks come out, they don't wind up falling down through the cracks. So what happens is this is a mini brooder for, until all the chicks are hatched.
I'm impressed actually, because the standards just require they be organic from the second day of life, so most of the organic chickens don't come from organic eggs.
That's right.
So can we see where the feed process, where do you said you store your feed here?
Yeah, in the honey room.
Okay. So this is feed that you process down in the garage?
Right. And what I do is I've got the grains. You can use either wheat or rye. I've got rye right here because that's what I've been planting. And then I use grain peas and barley. The tags are there, and then also right over here, here's the rye. All right, now that over there, the last bag is the flax.
And,
Right, and it is coming from the same supplier, but it's been bought out of Canada. And I've got the, hold on, I got the shipping on that.
Okay, so this replaces what feed ingredient?
It replaces the camelina. All right, it would call for camelina meal. But what I did, camelina is a brassica. All right, and so this is a brassica.
So
this will grow here.
So even if you're using organic flax, you're still needing to use this ingredient too?
Yeah, what it calls for is it calls for these two meals. It calls for the flax meal, and it calls for a brassica meal.
And so this now is organic. You've got flax that is organic, but you still are trying to replace this ingredient.
I have to replace that one.
So this batch of chicks may not be certifiable then?
It probably will not right now. I was hoping it would be, but the situation is that I'll be producing more.
Okay.
So we'll get there someday.
So can we...
Inspectors verify practices by interviewing the operator, observation of the farm, and by reviewing records. Records help the inspector verify that the organic system plan is accurate. Inspectors will usually perform one or more traceability tests to see if the system is working. They will also usually complete an in-out balance for at least one input, feed ingredient, or crop produced to see if what is being sold as organic is a reasonable amount for a specific operation.
So what I did is I took the invoices and added them up, and basically what you said earlier was that you got oats twice a year, and that's what I found here. It looks like you got oats a year ago in April, and then again in August, and then in January. And then we just saw the shipment that just got here, so I didn't count those. I added them up, and it looks like you bought 5,696 pounds of oats about the last year. And if there were still 2 of those garbage cans filled,
Mm-hmm.
and I took those off. I took that 325 pounds off, and I have 5,371 pounds of oats that you fed. Now, being exact doesn't seem so important because you're certifying the sheep and they're getting very few oats.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
So primarily the oats are for the horses.
Right now, yes. Yep.
So you said that you fed 2.5 pounds a day to the horses. You have 6 horses. So it looks like based on that you would need about 5,475 pounds, which is not too far off, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still a little bit more than what it seems like you bought.
Mm-hmm.
And you are using a little bit for the goats and the sheep.
Exactly. Yeah. Based on how heavy the oats are, and Welter always tells me, he will say they're light oats this time or they're heavy oats. He doesn't ever give me a poundage because basically I use the quart container.
So if they're light oats,
If they're light oats, then what happens is that that throws your
They go farther.
The 2.5 pounds doesn't make any sense then.
yeah.
So,
And then we talked about your hay harvest, and
Mhm.
last year's hay harvest, I think you said you had 21 bales,
22.
22
Yep.
bales first cutting,
First cutting. Yep.
9 bales second cutting,
Exactly.
31 bales,
Yep.
about 1,000 pounds.
Yep.
And but once again, I'm not so worried about it because that hay mostly went to the horses.
The sheep won't eat it.
It doesn't look to me like you're having any trouble meeting the 120-day minimum grazing season, 30% dry matter from pasture. It's pretty much about 100%
Right. Exactly.
from grazing.
Right. Right.
Okay, so we already did what I think is the most important traceability to do here is the lambs.
Yep.
And I saw your system. I saw that it works. I did see that there were a few ewes lost their tags, but you knew who they were, and they'll be re-tagged.
They got to be re-tagged.
So right now, I think what I need is a few minutes to go through my notes and make sure that I don't forget anything when I fill out the exit interview form.
Okay.
And
The last step of the inspection is the exit interview. This is where the producer can ask any questions, confirm any updates to their organic system plan, and clarify any issues identified by the inspector or the certifier as potential non-compliances. The producer is responsible for updating their organic system plan. The inspector is responsible for verifying changes made by the producer and making sure the producer has amended their organic system plan to show the changes made. A common mistake for growers is waiting until the inspection to notify the inspector of significant changes, such as adding a new field, rather than notifying the certifier ahead of time.
well, Ken, this is the time of the inspection in which if there's anything that I've asked you that you think maybe I didn't get right, we need to make sure that I got it right. And I wanted to start with some things that I'm really impressed with. And it's not a very big farm, but it's amazingly diverse. And what you've done as far as natural resources and biodiversity is amazing. Working with all natural systems. You know, you've had some pretty tough invasives. Invasives everywhere. Invasives in the lake, invasives in weed species, and the ants that are eating your worms in the worm bin. And your approach to it is always totally natural and trying to figure out how to work with the system. But your record keeping is really easy to follow. And your journals are great. I really appreciate them because sometimes I know record keeping is not the favorite thing of people, especially who have multiple diverse crops and livestock.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't know what I'd do without my records. I make my decisions.
So
based
your
on-
records are not something that someone's imposing on you, but it's actually something that's helping you in your management.
This is the best thing. I mean, seriously, to be able to go back and to see a pattern over a couple of years and then start predicting what you're going to do based on that pattern, and the patterns change, but basically you've got an incremental look at every one of them. And so the record keeping now, I'm addicted to it.
The most significant finding that came up today was that you actually have a new landlord that the certifier didn't know about.
Exactly.
And so I've made a note of that, is that, and this is the field, golf course
300. Golf course 300.
Golf course 300 is actually changed ownership, and you don't have a new written lease agreement or anything that says you can keep it as organic. It sounds like you can, but
I need to get that.
definitely need to get that to the certifier. The things that I found that were maybe also worth mentioning here is, I realize you knew that who those ewes were, but I am making a note here that 3 of the ewes were missing ear tags.
Right.
And that your plan is to retag.
Right.
I wasn't clear on how you were doing your seed search.
Okay, good. All right, what I've got is I've got probably 20 catalogs in there and ryegrass seed is now finally starting to show up in there as organic, but it is almost industry accepted that Marshall is a cut above. It's got the highest biomass. It is the most cold tolerant. It is, as far as everybody's concerned, it is in a class by itself. And so, but I have not found Marshall ryegrass seed in organic, and so I have stuck to that brand, even though I can't come up with the organic version.
If you don't mind, I'll just review what the standard says about it.
Go ahead.
205-204A says that the producer must use organically grown seeds, annual seedlings, and planting stock, except that non-organically produced untreated seeds and planting stock may be used to produce an organic crop when an equivalent organically produced variety is not commercially available. Mm-hmm. So I think what you're saying, it sounds like that you couldn't get an equivalent variety, that you need Marshall rye, and it's not available.
Everybody seems to think that there's no equivalent to Marshall.
And so once again, I think the most significant finding is this land ownership change without notifying the certifier. So this is just a reminder that whenever anything, and it may not seem significant to you, but it might seem significant to the certifier. This is the follow-up to the non-compliance from last year that clarifies how that land is being managed in the buffer next to the golf course 100.
Right, 100, yes.
And so I appreciate, I'm going to make sure I get that back to you.
Okay.
So just a reminder too that if the certifier does give you any non-compliances, there's always a deadline. It does sound like you've had some experience and you met the deadline and you're still certified, so you already have, that's good. Do you have any final questions for me?
No, I just really appreciate. I guess the whole organic system is so reassuring because of the fact that these inspections are not mamby-pamby. So what happens is that when I go to the store and I pick up something certified organic, then I could have some reasonable assurance that that somebody else has looked at this. Okay.
If you need to get a hold of me, because I only have a few days to submit my report. That is all that I found worth noting on my exit interview form. So if this looks right to you, if you could, I signed it right here. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Would you have time to answer just a few more questions?
Yeah, sure.
So first, could you speak about the cost of organic certification?
Right. The cost of the certification is roughly for doing the grower certification and then for the livestock certification is roughly $1,000 when you've got the inspector's fee and everything else. It's usually in the neighborhood of $400 up front. And just recently we've had the good fortune of the Farm Bill allocating money for cost share. And so the cost share is here in Georgia and pretty much nationwide is 75%. So what happens is for $250 I can be certified for the year. And then now what has happened this last year, and this is really really important, the state of Georgia and Georgia Organics have teamed up, and what they've done is they have made it so that they call it the new 100 program. And what they're trying to do is get new certified organic farmers. And so what they're doing is they are taking that other 25% and they're making it so that it's absolutely free. And so but what you have to do is you have to pay the upfront money, and then you're totally reimbursed. And so the cost share has really been a benefit. Now, as far as the grower versus the livestock, when you do the grower certification with the certifier that I have, it's only $75 more for livestock certification, and so it's worth it to me. What happens with the certification, every certified acre draws a certain amount, a certain percentage of the research allocation. All right, if we want research, we have to have certified acres. All right, and so what this does is with the grower certification, I've got 100 acres now, or right at 100 acres, that goes towards plant research. But then for $75 more, I've got 100 acres now listed as organic as far as livestock research is concerned. And so what happens is that it's if we want the answers and if we want to improve, then what happens is that if we don't have the research funds, it isn't going to happen. And so, I feel like that it's cut off your nose to spite your face if you are growing organic and decide not to certify. Then what happens is don't ask for any answers.
How much work do you find the actual certification application and renewal process?
So once you get a system, then it takes me a couple of days to get the information from my logbook into the form that I will send in, my field histories. And then after that, it's just fill out the form, and it's not a big deal.
Do you have any suggestions for other growers in your region, Georgia, or just the whole southeast region, as far as the resources? I know that during the inspection we learned that you got an EQIP grant, and then I heard about an NRCS grant.
And then there was the drought relief grant. Mm-hmm. I've gotten 3 of them, and the drought relief put my whole irrigation / watering system in, and the EQIP grant didn't pay for all of the fencing. Obviously, it's way behind as far as the amount, but I can tell you this: having all of the materials paid for by that grant, I was able to put in 1 mile of fencing last year, and also what I was having to do is I was having to switch from an all electrified system to an all cattle wire system because of the droughts. The electric didn't work with the droughts. That the end of the day, the bottom line is that it's still the only system that we've got that literally tells you that that something is as it should be. The really comforting thing is my non-compliances. I'm telling you, when the inspector comes out, and when they come up with, we saw this, can you tell me what this is? Then when they are that nitpicking, okay, and when you have to answer those questions, you start to realize that basically if everybody else has to answer those questions, then what I'm eating is probably going to be all right for me. When they come on the farm and ask questions like that, then you start to realize that they really are doing their homework, and then you get more confidence in the stuff that you're buying because you know that everybody else is having to answer the same questions.